the next time that they were abducted, get hold of something and bring it back with you. If you can't do that, attack the Greys, who are much inferior to us physically, and if you can scratch them or something, you can get some of their skin under your fingernails. Something we could get through analysis, in other words. Well, one of the abductees they did this to, in very, very quick time after this incident, had an abduction experience. Now, she never got a chance to get her hands on anything, because when they had her on the table and that, she couldn't move or anything else. But at one stage, she was free, and she attacked one of these Greys, but this was in her bedroom. And she hit it in the eye, apparently, and knocked one of the big black eyes, apparently, out. Now, what happened was the Grey immediately disappeared. But, let me get you right. Once she knocked this, it was like an eye shield. It wasn't an eye as such. It was almost like her sunglass. She knocked this thing off, which fell to the floor of the bedroom, and there were little flashing red lights inside. But the thing about it is, of course, they recovered the thing that she'd knocked out of the alien's eye. And it was described to me as being a very thin type of membrane type of material, but it was exactly like a coloured sunglass. Anyway, they're looking at that at this moment in time. But the point of all this is, it is proved now, almost beyond a shadow of a doubt, that these Greys are actually biological androids.
Roswell, one of the bodies, when the surgeon took a scalpel to start a T or a Y section on the autopsy, the report was, this is not tissue. It was fabric. And that in 1947, our government was discovering that they weren't probably dealing with the prime intelligence that was behind the craft, that they were dealing with something that would fall into the area of androidism. Today we have drones that are overflying the world. Back in 1947, our government came to understand that some of the bodies that they were taking from these craft were not even biological tissue as we understand it. The quote, which has never left my mind, these extraterrestrial biological entities manipulated DNA in already evolving primates to create Homo sapien, close quote. One man working for the DIA in retirement told me, Linda, we are convinced that the intelligence interacting with this planet has been here for more than 270 million years, predating the dinosaurs. If the size and the scope of this is that large, and if our government began to stumble on to these facts piece by piece in World War II and after, then I can understand why President Truman and Churchill and Eisenhower and that group of people would have said, let's wait 2 generations until we find out what we're dealing with. And what makes me nervous and what bothers me is something is very wrong in the underbelly of this country, the country that I think is related directly to a policy of denial from World War II about the fact that extraterrestrial biological entities, to use our government's own phrase in its own alleged documents, are interacting with this planet, have been for centuries, and that there is an intimate relationship between what we are and what they made. And that might explain why there's no wholesale evidence anywhere that the non-humans want to kill humans. They want, it appears, from my point of view as an investigative reporter talking with so many people, that there is an ongoing research program about what is happening on this planet and the surface life on Earth.
How much time do I have left?